Hello everyone. Today I have with me Dr. Rekha Radhamani, fourth gen Ayurveda medicine doctor, holistic nutritionist, and of course a yoga lover. She also has a hospital in Kerala, in India. Welcome Rekha ma'am to the podcast and web series of Beyond Mirage.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I think it's a privilege to be a part of this show because I know this show is getting bigger and bigger each time, and I'm really happy to be a part of this. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your kind words. And since you are a doctor, and doctor is mainly related to health aspect of any human being, like keeping their minds healthy, keeping their body healthy. Today, let's more talk about health perspective, I would say. And I remember in my school days, I was taught one thing, that health is wealth, and we used to write huge paragraphs on it, and we used to write essays on it, and we used to take out some morals out of it. And but as we grow up in life, and as we have different kind of experiences, and as we move in this world, somewhere I feel that people are sacrificing health for achieving different things in their life. And but many leaders, if we see on the contrary, always talk about health is wealth, and you should never compromise your health for anything else. So what are your views and opinions on this, and how do you reconcile this mainly?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, if you don't have health, then you have nothing. Even if you have wealth, it is of no use if you don't have health. So I totally agree to this point that health is wealth, and you have to invest time and energy in taking care of your health because that is ultimately the most important thing you have. You know, you have one life, and try and live it in the healthiest way possible. And if you know that Ayurveda also mentions a lot about health. And if you ask me what are the main functions of Ayurveda, one is definitely curing and treating diseases, finding remedies for diseases. But a large part of Ayurveda also talks about how to preserve health of the healthy individual. Okay, so somebody who does not have any health issues, how to preserve the health, how to have a life without any chronic diseases, how to prevent, and how to have a life which is more focused on healthy lifestyle practices, good nutrition, good exercise, sleeping the right amount of time, uh, and managing your stress. So all these are very important when it comes to maintaining your health, and Ayurveda also says exactly that.
Okay. But why do you think is there a gap between the mindset of people and actually this phrase? Like, yes, I also personally believe that health is wealth. Everyone believes that health is wealth, and it has been preached in the entire world. But when we see, one thing is having that kind of mindset, and one thing is doing that kind of action. So, why there is a gap in between that?
So if you ask me, there are a lot of things available on the internet. There are a lot of books available. There is a lot of information out there. People can very easily access health information and start putting these practices to their life without much difficulty. Because the moment they want to do, okay, I want to do intermittent fasting, just Google it and you find out, and you have like tons and loads of information, research articles, videos, so many things you just have to start doing. But most of the times what happens is whenever there is this even if they have the interest for it, what is lacking is something called self discipline. you know
Right.
Only if you have that self discipline in your life, and like waking up at the right time every day, waking up early, then you're doing your morning rituals, eating the right food, finding time to exercise, finding time to do yoga, and trying to sleep at least 8 hours. All these things are very easy to preach, but when it comes to doing it, what you require is that self discipline. That is the primary thing that is missing in people. And once you get over that phase of procrastinating and thinking over it and not doing it, it's quite easy. Once you take that first step, that the first step that you take is the most important thing. Once you take this step, then everything will fall into place. So that is just I think it's just that a little bit of a mindset change, a little bit of discipline that we all need in our life, that we will, we will further progress in our health journey.
Right, right. Self-discipline and consistency. Like, yes, you need to keep
Consistency,
doing it.
yes.
Right, that's true. That's so wonderful. And if I talk about like, according to you, what are the pillars of health? Like, if anyone wants to start their journey now, say they make a choice in their life, no, I will focus on health. And I then, if I have health, then I'll be able to create many things in my life that I always wanted to do. And suppose you're listening to this, and then what is your recommendation? What are the basic pillars of health that one should start or focus on?
According to me, the main pillars of health are, good nutrition. You have to eat right. You have to eat clean. You have to eat what the body needs, and sleeping at the right time, sleeping for at least 8 hours every night, and this is totally non-negotiable. You don't have any excuse with sleeping less. um, and the third thing is stress, managing your stress properly. Most of the times there is stress. We cannot avoid stress. Like, we have husband stress, wife stress, kid stress, job stress. We have thousands of different kinds of stress every day. We cannot avoid it, but we can manage it properly. So stress is one thing. And another very important thing that is lacking today is, exercise. Just a little bit of movement, just bringing in some kind of activity throughout the day. Even if you can't go for, high intensity interval training, or boot camp or something, at least some walking around your house, taking your dog for a walk if you have a dog, or just walking around the park around your house to, instead of sitting, bringing that, extra amount of activity into your life, bringing some movement into your life. All these are very, very important. So if you ask me, these are the most important pillars of health according to me.
So you talk mainly about the four pillars of health, and can you more focus on how do you actually control the stress part? Because I think most of the people are mainly having a lot of stress in their life right now, and how do you mainly control that part, and and how does
See,
it affect your health?
yeah, coming to stress, stress is something, as I said, it's quite unavoidable. You cannot avoid and run away from stress, but you can manage your stress better. So there are certain things that you can do from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed. The first thing most of the people do today, as soon as they wake up, is, check their phone. This is this is where we are getting wrong, at the beginning of the day. So when you are giving so much of information overload to your brain in at the start of the day, it's again, getting will get more difficult for the brain to process so much of information in the morning. So the best thing to do is, as soon as you wake up in the morning, for the first hour at least, try and make a decision that I will not check phone. Okay. Instead, wake up, go outside, or stand in your balcony, get some bright sunlight, let that sunlight fall directly into your eyes, and then have that morning light. How morning light helps is, morning light, or the sunshine, when it falls into our eyes, it gives it maintains, it balances the circadian rhythm. So what happens is, it tells our brain, okay, it's morning and it's the time to wake up, it's the time to be alert, it's the time to start your day. So it's actually, so this brain has this power of association. So in the morning, you are setting your alarm clock, or your body clock on by being out there in the sun and looking at the sun. And coming to your normal days, so at the time when we had these hunters and gatherers, when we were hunters and gatherers, when these people used to go to the jungle, their main problem, or the main cause of worry, was getting attacked by a lion or a tiger. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So during the day, if you see their graph, it's always starting good. They go to the jungle, and they get this acute stress of getting hit by a lion, or getting chased by a lion. At that time, their cortisol level goes up, comes down, and then uh, then they don't have stress for the rest of the day. So this is how their day starts and ends. So it's a normal thing with a little bit of spike. Right now, what we are doing is, because of our over involvement in the phone and things like that, from the morning, from the time we wake up, the first thing that we see, okay, our emails, the boss message, the boss emailed you, or you have something happening every day, something or the other is happening somewhere in the world, which is not a good
Good.
thing. So all these things, so much information, you start your day, your cortisol levels are high from the beginning of the day. Then you go to work, you make your kids ready for school, and then you go to work, and then you have stress at work, then it continues, and in the evening, once you come back, still you don't have time to relax. You don't give yourself any me time, and continuously work, eat, and then again go to bed, again watching the phone. So the so, so from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed, you're having constant stress. Okay, stress is okay. One day stress is fine, 2 days stress is fine, but this stress, if it continues for a very long time, then it becomes chronic stress. Chronic stress, um, the thing is, stress is very common. That doesn't mean that it is okay to have stress. So when it comes to chronic stress, it leads to a lot of chronic diseases. So it is always better to manage your day properly. Each and everything that you do, every moment that you spend, okay, when you're not working, we all have work. We all have that busy schedules. If you ask me, I'm very very busy, but I have my time where I have, which I take selfishly for myself as my own me time. So this time is only for me to relax. If I don't give myself this time to relax, then I will be like exhausted. So in the same way, we all need a me time. So during the me time, you can do whatever you like. It could be listening to music, it could be cooking, it could be going to a cafe and sitting or reading a book, it could be taking a warm shower, or a long shower, or whatever you like doing, just do it without your mobile phones. Just try and be with yourself. All these things, and then having a meal together with your family. These days, we don't have the concept of eating around a dining table. Most of us eat when we want to eat. Most of us look at the phone and eat. What we need is, we need people around us. We need that dining table to build that connection. So in the night when you're having dinner, try and have at least one meal with the family. There, you talk to the people next to you. You ask them, okay, how was your day? If it is your son, ask, or your daughter, ask him, how was your day? What did you do to make somebody happy? Tell me about the positive experiences you have during the day. So these things, when you hear it, it looks very touchy feely kind of thing, but it's actually real science and research has been done about it. So that's why, even at the time before you go to bed, try and do something like a gratitude journal where you jot down things that happen during the day. So there is something called positive psychology. When you always talk about stress, we should also talk about positive psychology in importance of increasing the happiness in your life. So this journaling is something that is into positive psychology. So how it helps is, um, you have to write down three positive experiences you had throughout the day. The idea is to immerse yourself into those positive experiences. You think about it again, and then you write it down. So again, you're doing a positive activity. So
Okay.
in this way, and then you go to sleep without looking at the phone. Then you go to sleep peacefully. All these things will reduce your stress levels a lot. When it comes to Ayurveda, we have certain herbs that actually help you to sleep better. So one of them is ashwagandha. So ashwagandha manage stress better. So ashwagandha and few other herbs. These are called adaptogens. So adaptogens are things that help you better adapt to stress. So ashwagandha is one such thing, and we have many other herbs which actually help you to reduce stress. So in the night, if you feel like overly stressed out, if you feel anxious, there is no harm in having half a cup of milk or warm water and having a teaspoon of ashwagandha in it. It actually is very calming and relaxing to the mind. Uh, yeah, so basically, to manage stress is not a big thing. We all can manage stress. We just have to focus on those simple things we do uh, at different time of the day because it all adds up.
Right.
So whatever time you have to spend it wisely and use that time well to reflect upon all the positive things that are happening with you and think about all the good things and take some me time. All these things will help you to manage stress better.
I think that's really wonderful that you shared so many small techniques, I would say, which will actually sum up to a very big thing and it will create a very huge impact in someone's life. Because I also personally believe that small things will actually shape up your mind slowly and it will break the patterns that we already have been going through in the past.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
So it's like shaping the mind, breaking the small patterns that exist by small things, and then creating a huge positive impact in your life. And that's a wonderful thing that you shared with us regarding stress management, I would say. And I think we should dive deep more into the nutrition aspect because that is one of the major topics I feel. But for that, I think everyone should wait for the second episode with you because that is going to be very exciting and we are going to dive deep into the nutrition aspect and how actually nutrition shapes up our mental thinking and capacity, I think. So thank you, Dr. Rekha ma'am, for actually sharing such wonderful insights with us and telling us the four basic pillars of health. And I think everyone will be very excited for the second episode, which will be coming with you soon. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining.